like to support the channel. Also, you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you.
Last question.
Which creates better people going forward.
Last question, and then I'm going to let you go. Last question. We're out of time, but I'm going to give you one more question. During Jim Crow, could your family have existed? You are in an interracial marriage. Your wife is a white conservative activist. Could your family have existed at all during Jim Crow?
No, it could not, Joy, and we all know that. But that's why I am blessed to live in America today as opposed to America during that time.
Explain that to me.
But we cannot ignore the realities of not having fathers in homes. That is important for Black people today.
So we have a Black man here that is technically no longer a part of the community because he is with or married into a whole nother community, wanting to use his prominent role in society and the platform that he has in order to spread the exact same stereotype that has been spread for quite some time. But anybody can look up on Google and see this. Black dads are more likely to play dress up and share a meal with their children. Data shows. Study. Black dads more involved in children's lives than other groups. Another one. The CDC study shatters the myth about Black fathers. And I did a video and a live stream on that a few years back. And shout out to anybody who's been here long enough in order to see that video and those live streams.
And all people today as we move forward for a better America.
We are out of time. What I'm grateful for is that we do not live in the Jim Crow era and that fathers do not face the threat of lynching.
I'm very grateful of that.
Perhaps don't bring up Jim Crow when you're trying to make that example. Representative Byron Donalds, thank you for being here, and we'll be right back.
So remember, this dude is talking with a forked tongue. He's stating that, Black people did way better in Jim Crow, and, we would technically be blessed to, in a sense, be back there and, because we were, doing things, right? But then in the same token, when the question was asked if he would be able to be married to the woman he is married to at this current time if he was back in Jim Crow, he said no. And he said that he is very happy to not live in that time, but to live in this time because he has the wife and the family that he has at this moment in time. And again, like I said before, people need to really pay attention to the things that people are stating, right? A lot of people like to hear the things that sort of agree with their opinions or their views, and then they mute out everything else and not pay attention to the whole context or how specific the person is trying to frame certain things, which is beneficial for them and not beneficial for everybody else. But let's continue.
Another one.
Black Republican Congressman Byron Donaldson and Representative Wesley Hunt of Texas were attacked by Black Democrats for making the claims that the Black family was better off during Jim Crow and segregation. They did not say that Jim Crow and segregation, the conditions were better for Blacks. He said our response to it was better than it is today. Between 1930 and 1940, Black families have the highest marriage rate of any group in society. More Blacks were killed in 1 year in America than was killed and lynched in 40 years of the Klans. So these men were right in their claims.
Another one.
So since the two men have their own opinion on how it is that took place during Jim Crow, I wanted to read from this book. And it states, Governor commends Augusta, Georgia, November 11th. A special from Anderson, South Carolina states this. What was unquestionably the most sensational gubernatorial address ever delivered by a man holding that office in South Carolina came from Governor Cole L. Blease, who spoke here today to thousands of people in compliance with an invitation. Governor Blease devoted considerable time to the recent of a Negro at Honea Path when the mob was led by Representative Josh Ashley, and was rather commentary in his expression. He stated he has been informed by a telegram from the sheriff of the situation and had in turn wired the sheriff instructions sending 2 telegrams. Quote, the telegram to Sheriff King stated that, Governor, keep in touch with the Honia Path affair and send me a report tomorrow morning telling me what is going on. Sheriff King received the telegram and he understood its meaning. Next morning, I received his report and it was exactly what I expected. As a matter of fact, if it had been any different, I would have been greatly disappointed. The governor went on to say that rather than use his power of office in deterring white men from punishing that brute, he would have resigned the office and come to Honia Path and led the mob himself.
Mr. Speaker, it has come to my attention that a so-called leader has made the factually inaccurate statement that black folks were better off during Jim Crow. That's an outlandish, outrageous, and out-of-pocket observation. We were not better off when a young boy named Emmett Till could be brutally murdered without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when black women could be sexually assaulted without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when people could be systematically lynched without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when children could be denied a high-quality education without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when people could be denied the right to vote without consequence because of Jim Crow. How dare you make such an ignorant observation? You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. I yield back.
It's amazing to me how far we've come and then how far we've also gone back at the same time, where you have certain people that feel as though since they've made it in life that, or that they have the certain status, that they are above it, that, you know, everything seems peachy keen and great, you know, where it is from, you know, the outlook of what it is that they have, not fully understanding the real totality of everything that took place. It's amazing how we have so many books. It's amazing how we have so many documentaries. It's amazing how we have so many elders that could tell you story upon story upon story, probably years worth of stories. And it still wouldn't touch the surface of the horrendous things that black people had to go through, the ordeals, and, you know, the many situations of life or death that took place during that era. I remember a few stories from my grandmother and how it is that she stated to me she was chased as a young girl directly out of a bathroom by a white woman. And I think about how many other stories that are like that, but the outcome was vastly different. I wonder about all of the many young black boys that disappeared, that their bloodlines ceased to exist. How many young black boys and black men were blamed for some type of crime that they had nothing to do with, that they weren't even in the same town or city when it transpired to happen, but yet somebody picked them out and said that, yo, you are the person that we're looking for. You need to come with us. But I guess none of that stuff matters because it's in the past, right? It's so long ago. I wasn't there. They weren't there. You know, pretty much for all intents and purposes, all of these stories are just fairy tales, right? So why focus on things that we have no proof of, as some people like to say? Why stay, you know, so much in the past? And the main thing that I respond with is that if you don't learn about the past, you can never have a future. If you forget the things that took place in the past, then they are bound to come back and happen again in the future. Without any of the past, both good or bad, that we have, we could never have the future that we have at this moment in time. But the problem is that a lot of people only want to embrace the good. They want to embrace the positive that, in a sense, quote unquote, made society, when a lot of the bad and the horrendous things allowed and gave leeway for the society that we are in at this moment in time. But again, only one segment of the population realistically wants to focus in and bring up the ugly and the horrible parts so that people can understand how America became the America that it is today. But yet you have others like Byron who want to stay with their rose-colored glasses. They want to be on the top of the mountain. They want to be directly in the suburbs. They want to be with their nice suits and their lighter than light wife. And they think that they've made it. But the only reason that quote unquote you did or you have made it is because of those who came before you or didn't even make it through Jim Crow.